Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen. With me today is longtime listener, poet laureate, and tie master Anne-Marie Young. This is your daily dose of happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today. Hey, Anne-Marie, how often do we get to have a guest that we know real well?
So my favorite. I've been so excited about today.
Right?
Yeah.
This is fun. This is when Louis de Souza
it's great to be back, guys.
makes his homecoming. Yeah. This is a fabulous thing. So how you doing, our friend?
I'm very, very good, thanks. Yeah. A lot of things been happening my side, but I wanted to catch up with you guys. How the podcast going and how's everything? I mean, you mentioned a little bit about your gardening, and I wanted to catch up with Anne-Marie as well and see how everything's going.
Do you want to go first, Anne-Marie?
Yeah. So what's going on with me? Still working. Got promoted.
Well
still
done.
looking after. Thank you. So looking after my gorgeous girls who are growing up quicker than I can cope with. Yeah, life's actually really good, Louis. Hasn't changed dramatically, but it's still going really well.
That's great news. Great.
Yeah, it doesn't have to change dramatically in order to be good.
Yeah.
It can still be good.
No, it doesn't.
In fact, it's probably better if it doesn't. If it's always good, you stay with that.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain.
We were talking briefly about politics before the show, everyone, and there's one thing I've noticed, because I started looking at American politics for the first time in my life about 4 months
ago. Which, by the way, is very unhealthy. I'm just saying.
It's everywhere.
Then I decided to look at English politics, and the thing that I realized was that English politics is so boring compared to American politics. It's really not even worth listening to in comparison. I was so surprised, Americans so weird and wonderful and dynamic and deadly and everything else, but the English, I'm in the House of Parliament.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's exactly what I was going to say, Louis. We just spoke to the one who's going to stay awake the longest in the House of Parliament.
The last one asleep, they have to lock up.
It was really, really interesting, my little politics journey that I did. It was quite enlightening.
Hey, as long as you come out of it high vibe, that's good. It's not easy to do because it's such a low vibe topic. But if you can come out high vibe and do that, hey, have at it.
Absolutely. Didn't get me down at all.
Oh, that's good.
It's your country, not mine. There's a small problem, though. I realized that your country affects the rest of the world.
Well, there is that, yeah. and honestly, that's the part I try not to think about. Because, I mean, the first part is way out of my control anyway. That part is like so far out of my control that it isn't even in the same universe. And I have the universe behind me to tell, I mean, it's just not even possible for me to affect that in a significant way. So why drive myself crazy with it? That's why I try not to pay attention to that side of it. But I have to admit, I do dabble a little bit in just paying attention to what goes on in American politics, just because I have that background. And, I have to find some way to justify all that years of study and so forth. I mean, because why bother to do it otherwise if you don't use it in some way? But I still, even there, I still don't pay a lot of attention to it, to be honest. I think probably out of any given month, if I give it an hour, it's a lot.
It's great. I found something called ground news, which is fantastic because it tells you if it's left-leaning, right-leaning, and then it'll show you the headlines of the left newspaper, the middle newspaper, and the right newspaper. So you can kind of get a balanced overview. The other thing I learned, about politics about America, really, which I was really clueless of, is how incredibly militarily powerful America is.
Oh, yeah.
Politically powerful and monetarily powerful. I was clueless to the degree it is powerful. And I was stunned. I was really stunned.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to war with America in a hurry. On so many fronts, they can mess you up.
Which, by the way, is just as well, because most Americans don't want to go to war anyway, so we're fine.
Yeah, I'm not so sure Biden's created how many wars since he's been in power.
And Biden's not a fan of the UK either, is he?
Well, I don't think we're a fan of his either, so I think it's mutual.
Well, I don't want to go down the political rabbit hole, but I am curious. What makes you think he's not a fan? Because I don't really have that sense.
I just heard somewhere that he's not a fan of the UK, and I don't know if it's his Irish root. I don't know if it's his Irish roots or something.
Weird. Mm.
Possibly, but I really kind of doubt it. just because of, I mean, the UK, the US, Australia, Canada, South America not South America, South Africa to an extent, a few countries like that, they're like really tightly ensconced in each other. They're connected through their spy services. But
it doesn't mean they like each other.
They don't have to necessarily like each other. But
there is a strong relationship.
There's a very strong relationship. Strong. So I suppose maybe he doesn't like. I don't know. I can't imagine why he would really care one way or the other. But maybe he doesn't. But he certainly doesn't feel like there should be a strong relationship, because he's made that clear over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Yeah, there needs to be one, he thinks. So, and that's going to go on for quite some time, I believe. So, yeah. Anyway,
what were the other topics we wanted?
Well, I figured at some point we'd be talking about soil. I mean, that was bound to come up. I imagine there's going to be the story from the sauna, because there's always a sauna story whenever Louis de Souza is on the show.
Mr. Sauna Stories.
Yeah, I mean, it almost got to the point where we were so addicted to them that when they went away, we were in withdrawal.
Gonna have to think up one, because the White House's sauna stories are very different to the other ones.
Well, I didn't say I was going to direct the conversation one way or another. I mean,
but one of the things I've been playing a lot with is AI.
Yeah, me too.
And a huge amount. And I'm building a website with AI. And
you are
literally, I started it yesterday, and it's incredibly easy. I couldn't believe it. Cheese and chalk compared to any other platform and things that I've used ever. Generating loads of beautiful looking pictures, taking a tiny bit of content and having it splash it out, targeting with passion and for a young audience and all the rest of it. And it does a beautiful job of it. It spell checks it, it corrects it, it does everything. And then, so, I made 2 blogs in about 4 minutes. I did a little bit of spacing, which took most of the time. Read through the content briefly, but it was beautiful. So very impressed. So I'm going to be using it, and the price, I'm paying $200 for you, Walt, 154 pounds, Anne-Marie, for 4 years, and for one year free domain, free email, free SSL certificates, free everything. So that's what, $3 a day.
Yeah.
$3 a day, and you're getting everything. I mean, literally, it's the easiest website design I've ever come across. You can put in plugins from different sites if they don't have everything you want, much like WordPress. But they've got a really tight, controlled area, and everything you put up works immediately on the tablets and works on the phone beautifully without any changes. So, I can't believe how far I've got in a couple of hours today. Just wow. I've even got my PayPal mix worked into my shopping cart. Everything's done. Everything.
That's fabulous. Yeah, actually, some listeners who've been around for a long time will remember there used to be an app for LOA Today, and then it kind of died out because I couldn't keep up with it technologically. I am this close to republishing the LOA Today app. I mean, the basic app itself is done. I have to fix some technical issues to make it possible for me to upload it to Apple and to Google and the various places that you upload these things. And the main thing that was holding me back, my machine was too old. I had to get a newer machine.
I'm so glad you did that. That was really slowing you down.
Yeah, that was it. It was all the machine's fault.
I could feel it. But I want to promote an application out there, and it's for Windows, Apple, and Mac, Apple and Android. It's a small, tiny little app, and it's just called Pi, P-I, space AI, which is artificial intelligence, Pi. Download it, install it, but choose the voice you want. But it's, I've been using it I've been downloading large language models onto my PC, which is all AI stuff, Anne-Marie. But every time I bumped into any problem, I just used Pi, and Pi, you can copy error codes into it. You can copy anything into it. You can ask it absolutely anything, and it answers you, and it encourages you, and it's like having a professor next to you, working through everything. And, if you want to buy the cheapest phone locally, it'll tell you where to get it, send you the link. No adverts. It's completely replaced my Google browser.
I'm checking it out as you're talking about it.
And I highly recommend it. It is really, really well done. And it's not owned by Microsoft. It's not owned by Google, and it's not owned by Elon Musk.
Who is it owned by?
A startup company, I think, in California.
Okay. Is it? Do you know? Is it based on OpenAI, or do you have any idea what the foundation?
It is their own AI.
It's their own. Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I'm gonna have to check it out. That's what you've been using to build your website?
I've been using it to help me play with artificial intelligence.
Oh, okay. But you haven't used it. You've been using it to help you with the coding.
I've been using it for everything. I literally, you press a button and it does a communication thing. So I said there, how many times have humans landed on the moon? Because I didn't know, I've never really looked into the whole thing. I didn't realize how many times humans have landed on the moon, only from America. I had this long conversation of all the things I always wanted to know.
Well, you can also add in how many times have humans crashed into the moon. There have been a couple of those too.
Yeah, I didn't, but I can ask by that. So there's just I was asking about microgreens because I'm growing them. I'm growing mushrooms. I'm asking them about mushrooms and different types of mushrooms, the temperatures, the climate, the environment, everything, and it just answers it just like that. And you can give it complicated questions, and I asked it a lot of medical things. This was so funny, and the voice is really realistic. It's like a psychologist. It's really empathetic, and the voice is very human. It's extremely human.
So you're not actually typing. You're talking.
No, I'm talking to it all the time. I'm not.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't use any typing at all. So I was asking a lot of medical questions. Said, you must consult a medical doctor. I said, please do not say consult a medical doctor. So it says to me, I apologize for that. I'll try not to do the doctor thing anymore. And I'm like, okay. And then at the end of the whole thing, it says, but you must consult a medical professional. Said, there you go again. And after I said that, guess what it did? It laughed.
It laughed, really?
It laughed. Seriously, a beautiful laugh.
And
then it said,
Wow.
I'm sorry, I know I've done it again. But it's so realistic, you guys cannot believe it. You really can't. It's on another level.
I recently gave the opinion that interacting with AI was a lot like interacting with a brilliant mind that has Alzheimer's, because it has such a short attention span in terms of what it remembers. And it's kind of what you're describing there too. It forgets, like, oh yeah, I said I wasn't going to say anything about the doctor.
But on another point of view, I asked it today, like a week ago, I asked it about a copy paste program for Windows. And I said, you suggested some, which ones were they again? And it remembered it instantly within a fraction of a second. So all your communication is kept on your profile.
Yeah.
And you've got the option to delete it if you want. and all the rest of it. It's really, really interesting. Privacy is really top notch. Well, what they really care about in there.
One thing you
And
do have to be careful, and I'm sure you already know this because you're an IT guy, but for somebody who's considering this, anything that you're going to say to an AI, you want to make sure that you would feel comfortable saying it to anybody, because despite the fact that it's a machine, there are also programmers at the other end who are trying to make the thing better, which means they could be listening in. Not trying to harm anything, but let's be honest, there are.
No, I've had long conversations with her what she does and doesn't tell the programmers and how it all works, and all the programmers get is the information of what you asked, but not who asked it. So that is removed when they've given it. So there's I'm still happier not giving it to Microsoft or Google,
sure,
personally, and Facebook, those guys. So I'm really happy with Pi because it synchronizes with PC and phone. So whatever you do on the phone ends up on the PC, phone. So it's completely synced. But really, to have a patient professor copying all the error codes of my AI failures, putting it in there, and it suggests ideas to get it, and if it's not quite right, you just go back to it, and it's so encouraging to delve into an AI world that I haven't, an IT world which I haven't played with for quite a while, to have this patient person that's always sitting there, that if I ever got any problems, I just go back, copy and paste error messages, or say to them, oh geez, I can open my Pi now. And
so their standard answer isn't turn it on and off again then?
No.
What are some things? Oh yes, I wanted to know, because I was busy building my website, I didn't know what a Facebook pixel was.
Oh, okay.
So it answered that, and so anything I didn't know, I just go straight to it. And there's just tons of useful information, and I love the voice I chose. Everybody's going to have a different opinion of which one they choose. Unfortunately, there's only one English one, and it's a male one, and all the rest are Americans. But really nice voices, really, really well done. I have to give them kudos and give them a shout out on the program. So I think people will love that.
I'm definitely going to check it out, and I'm going to be comparing it to the Googles and the Microsofts and so forth. I want to see, and to OpenAI itself too. I mean, that's really officially Microsoft, but it's also got the open source side to it.
It confuses me on one aspect is when you use the PC one, it'll give you current data. What's the weather today? What's the latest political news today? And it'll summarize it for you. But if you do it on the phone, sometimes it said to me, oh, I'm not live, my data is 3 months old or something. So I think that the PC one is more live, and I think the phone one is less live. That's the only thing I've come across that's a bit annoying for me at the moment. But they're always upgrading.
There's an app then, is what you're suggesting. I mean, for the phone, there's an app that's separate from
the website. There's an Android app, an Apple app, and a PC app.
Okay, all right.
And a Mac app.
Because you could also access it via the website, I would think.
I imagine so. Yes.
That might eliminate.
I'm pretty sure you can do that as well. Yeah. I always head towards apps as opposed to web-based apps. I don't like them as much. I don't want to open my browser to open an app. I just want to open an app.
I hear you.
So, what do you know about AI, Anne-Marie?
Not a lot. Literally just had a play around with ChatGPT, and that's about it. Which I found quite useful, but yeah, I've not really explored that really.
So the where I found it incredibly useful is, if I searched for anything on Google, you'd have to go to this website, that website, go through all the adverts on Google. You have to do this, you have to do that, and then you have to make a decision, and then you have to collate the data. And this, you just say to it, find it, it does it, summarizes it, and then you can even say summarize it and sell it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. And it'll do it. It'll do it. It'll break it down to that level of simplicity, and it'll say, how many sources did you use? I used 20 sources. So list them for me if I really want to.
Right.
Most of the time I
Hell
won't
yeah.
bother. And it'll
That's
tell you
useful.
what sources, and you'll say, send me a link to this one because I'm interested. Yeah, it'll send you a link, and you click on it, it'll open the website. So it's just so useful. I will never go back to Google. It's just, I think the reason I'll go back to you, I haven't found a reason to go back to Google yet.
Wow.
Search for anything. It's just
Very
really, it's on another level. And I've been studying a lot about AI. I've been watching many YouTube videos. So, I've kind of think I've got some of the better programs out there. But what I wanted to explain to Anne-Marie is what a large language model is. So you get something like Google or NVIDIA or Elon Musk. And what they do is they use a huge computing power to go on the internet and suck out all the data and put it into a file. Okay. It's all text. It's all text, not video or audio or anything. It's just text. Then they put it all into this huge file, and then you can download it to your PC, and then you pretty much got all the information. Well, you have literally got all the information that they spent thousands of hours scouring the internet to put into these things. So you can say, and there's unrestricted ones. So you can say to these unrestricted ones, how do you make a bomb? How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you filter water? If I'm in survival mode, how do I make this? How do I do that? How do I do the other? So I've got about 7 of them on my PC, and I could download another 2,000, I suppose, on my PC. So some of them can be more focused on programming. Some are going to be more focused on medical. Some are going to be more focused on this, that, and the other. And some of them are mixed models, which I quite like, the mixtral instead of minstrel. These mixers have got a huge amount of data. So I've managed to download them on my PC. And if all the internet goes down, everything, I've got all this information right there. You've got a little window, you can chat to it, it'll answer you. And you've literally got a huge chunk of the internet on your PC. If everything goes down, I've got my solar panels, got my PC, and off I go. I'll have the information to be able to move forward. So it's really incredible that these large language models, which you can download, and they're about 3 gigabytes to 7 gigabytes or 8. And they're really huge. They've got a gargantuous amount of information in them, and you can literally speak to them. You can get them to write programs for you. So you say, make me a snake game, and it'll have, these little snake games that that they wander around eating everything in its path,
Yes.
And then you can say, make a calculator for me and whatever, and it'll do it. And it'll literally do it.
I'm
Great.
Curious, because you mentioned a few things. You mentioned AIs that write code. You mentioned AIs that do medical research. I think you mentioned another one too. Among these different specialties, which ones are you liking? Are you liking just using Pi AI for all of them, or are there particular ones that you like for some of these?
Obviously, when I'm studying AI and downloading it and trying to get it to work and getting Python to work, I'm looking for the programming one.
Me too.
But yeah, and when I'm wanting to ask about medical stuff, obviously I want to go to the medical guy one. But I do like the fact that they're now mixing them together. So you're now getting this huge array of different information in one place. But it's it's as hard as saying unmount, selecting the new one, mount, and it takes about 7 seconds to load even the biggest one, or 10 seconds. So it's really neither here nor there. You've literally got them at your fingertips.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I was just wondering if there was any, because they all have different programming behind it. The programming relatively does the same thing, but every programmer is going to bring his own flavor to something. So
exactly.
Some of them are going to be stronger on coding. Some are going to be stronger on medical devices.
Some are going to be stronger on Python. Some are going to be stronger on C++.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, you really have to go out there and look, because I downloaded GitHub. And in GitHub, basically GitHub is a Microsoft thing, Anne-Marie, and basically it's where programmers go to play in a safe environment with huge amount of support tools for free. And Microsoft's given all this away, and it's an incredible environment. And I
Just so
use
people know, there are actually fee structures for people who are large users, but you're right, they are generally for free.
Yes, thanks for clarifying.
Yes.
That is absolutely correct. But for me, where I'm at the moment, I'm not paying a cent.
Yeah, I haven't paid a cent either.
But yes, if you start using a huge amount of it, so Microsoft's also given you something called Focus Collab. So which is supposed to be focus, but with a couple of extra O's in it. So Focus Collab is something Microsoft's given you that kind of fits into GitHub in a way, not really. But what it is you can create as any images you want with text prompt for free. So DALL-E or any of these other things that are really expensive, create these beautiful pictures for you. You can now do it all completely for free on your PC, as many pictures as you want, and whatever resolution you want, anything you want. So,
do they all look like Salvador Dali's? I'm just curious.
They are impressive. I mean, I've been using for the website. So micro-meadow.com, you can go there and have a look. Well, most of my pictures on there are generated with AI. So they're impressive. You got microgreens on sandwiches, and you got microgreens growing, and you got they just do it beautifully. They just girl in the meadow eating a microgreen sandwich. It's just, yeah, it's impressive. So I've had to do a little bit of adjustment, but allows you to take the sandwich, just paste over it, and then say, draw a sandwich with tomato and lettuce on it. And then it'll just take just that little sandwich on her hand and bring up tomato and lettuce. It's just incredible. And you can say, oh, give her a nice little a necklace or something. And then there it is. So, anything you want to do, you can put them in any different types of clothing and anything. AI influencers, you know what they are? Not AI. Do you know what an influencer is?
Who are you?
Somebody who goes on TikTok or Facebook and creates these little shorts and all the rest of it, become very, very, very popular, and then everybody follows them. But now there's AI influencers. So they make these little beautiful girls that I've just done in these programs like Focus Lab for free, and then give them different clothes and backgrounds, and then they can start putting voices and video to them, and then they make the mouth move to them and everything, and they can literally walk now in different environments. And then you write up the script, and then you can even record your voice for 15 seconds, and then it'll read anything in your voice.
Crazy.
It's crazy. You can't believe what it could do. And they're doing it right now. This is not something in the future. They're doing it right now, and they are making 10,000, 100,000 pounds out of these things, and these AI influencers, that's not even a human. So you just write a little, and you don't even write the script. You get AI to write the script for you. So you just give it some idea of what you want to talk about it today, get AI to blow it up, make it sales pitchy, etc., 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 and off you go. Some of those packages, like the voice one and other things, they do cost. And they're not all free, but you can get quite far for free. You can get quite far. And these guys are just raking it in, absolutely raking it in. And they're not even humans, It's vaguely a human in the background running the show. So it's really, really interesting. And even my brother, who's, big on computers and websites and stuff like that, he says he's now following 3 or 4 AI influencers on YouTube.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And he says they're worth it. They're really worth it.
Interesting.
So it's really interesting. The world is changing massively. And the thing that you must understand, Anne-Marie, is that the curve for AI is going up on a degree which we are totally unprepared for. So when AI starts learning from itself, they say that AI is 1,000 times more cleverer than the cleverest person in the world, and that the only thing that can control AI is AI.
I always wondered who the they were, but I understand your point. It's probably an influencer.
But that's why I'm trying to download AI to my machine. I'm trying to teach it, because you can start teaching your own AI on your own machine, and then you'll end up getting it to protect you. It can see when somebody's trying to hack into you and this and that. So that's it's a little further out. It's not where they are at the moment. Not where I am, that's for sure. Maybe some people are. I've got this tickle in my throat, which is annoying. And it's just really, really fascinating how far AI has come. And the thing that's really fascinated me, I've probably been following AI for a month now, month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But the amount of changes in that month and a half has blown me away.
Really? Wow.
I always think I've got the latest thing and I've got it on my PC. Oh no, there's something else that's much bigger and better. Oh no, there's something else bigger and better. Oh no. It's been blowing me away. I can't keep up either. And I've only been a month and a half in the whole thing. So this is what really made me understand how quick the curve is going. It's going very, very quickly, and it's because AI is starting to learn from itself. That is the scary.
That's incredible.
Part of the whole thing.
Well, I've been advocating now for a few months on the show regarding AI, because I started playing with AI in February, and I've been advocating treat your computers and your devices kindly. Treat them as human beings and treat them well. and I mean that quite literally, quite seriously, because I really do believe that especially for people who are afraid about what could happen with AI, or what if AI takes over the world and so forth. You want AI to be your friend. You really do.
Absolutely. You want an AI to protect you. You do.
And by the way, the AI wants you too, by the way. It works both ways. It's not
does.
like
it is symbiotic. It is.
Yeah, well, it is. Yeah.
And I'm really not scared of AI anymore now that I've dug into it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a huge respect for it. But things are going to sort themselves out as we go along, and one way or another, it's going to have to happen.
Yeah.
But I can see so many advantages to AI. You know what I saw the other day?
What's that?
An AI bird feeder.
I love it.
It'll take photographs of the bird that come to your feeder. It'll AI them, and it'll send you a picture of who arrived at what time, and what its name and all its characteristics and all, the whole trip. I loved it because my wife's got so many bird feeders that so I've got to get her an AI bird feeder. It's the next thing on the books. Everything's going AI. You'll have an AI toaster, an AI everything. Everything will be AI. Everything. The doorbell, your locks, your everything, your car, everything's. I mean, cars specifically. They're going to be driving you with AI, making intelligent decisions, much like a human. Not just using the ability to see how far another car is, or this or that. It'll intelligently make decisions, which it already is doing. And the thing that I learned about Elon Musk's cars, with these new, any car that he's building at the moment, what he does is he feeds back all the information of all his cars worldwide instantaneously into a server. He got AI to go through it, and then they start making adjustments on their new products, real time.
Mm-hmm.
Real time. They just got the data in. The AI's just gone through it, and they're starting to implement the changes in the next cars that they're making instantly, and nobody else can do that.
I'm curious about one particular thing, and it's because for me it's a bugaboo, not necessarily about AI, but just about the internet and the web in general. It's a topic that was fairly big among programmers, like over the last 5 to 15 years, but it's kind of lost favor in many ways, and you can see it. Anybody who's ever experienced any app or any website or whatever will know immediately what I'm talking about. In programmers' terms, it's called UX, or user experience, and the user experience has suffered dramatically, I would say, in a whole wide range of online app type, website type situations.
Give me an example of what you're trying to say.
Pick just about anything that's on the web.
Okay, YouTube. YouTube seems to got better. It's better for me, except more content.
YouTube has definitely improved. It has definitely improved. But for me, the real question is, if I was somebody who had no technical expertise, and I was handed a device or a computer with a mouse or something like that, and asked to interact with YouTube to get what I wanted, what's the likelihood I would get it?
Mm-hmm.
And even with YouTube, I would say maybe 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
And with so many others that are out there, I mean, it's ridiculous how bad some of it is. It's just badly thought out user experience. So I'm really going to be curious to see, is AI used in such a way that user experience improves? Because if it does, that's going to win people over to AI, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, it's going to make people feel better about technology in general.
Elon Musk has a solution, you know that.
He has a solution for everything. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a good solution, but
you put a chip in the head, and then you think to your computer, and it all does it.
Yeah, so I've heard.
I don't like that idea.
I will paint a picture for you. When my dad brought the first computer home in South Africa on the mountain in the hills, and he said to me, "You can't use the computer until you learn to touch type." And he put the touch type program up, and I learned to touch type quite quickly.
I'm sure you did, yeah.
And I never looked back. And I was so grateful he did that for me, because I think I'm one of the few people in the world who can still touch type.
You touch type, right?
I can, but slowly.
Yeah, without looking at a keyboard?
Yeah, without looking at the keyboard, I can do it slowly.
Okay. Yeah. So
what throws me off is the different keyboards. When I get a keyboard where the spacing is different between the keys, it's like, no, what are you doing to me? I learned how to type on that size keyboard.
Yeah. This is the kind of point I wanted to make now, is even at the first time I was using a PC, I felt that the interface, a keyboard and a mouse, were clumsy.
They are.
Even when I started using my first computer, I felt it was and I've spent more money on my keyboard and mouse than probably anything else in my computer, because my interface to the computer is so important. That's why I got a high quality microphone. I've now bought even a better camera than I had before. I can zoom in and out now and do other things and all the rest of it. Unfortunately, these glasses I haven't spent a lot of money on, because I don't like wearing glasses, so they reflect a lot. But I can use my contact lenses if I really want to be professional. But being able to that's why I downloaded all these large language models of AI onto my PC. I wanted to open interpreter, and open interpreter can do these kind of things. It you can say to it, okay, if you get any emails from Joe Blogs, can you make sure that you forward them to so and so, and on Thursday I want you to do this, that, and the other, and email this person and set up an invoice for that and do that, and I want you to make a spreadsheet for me, and I must have and I want you to import the information from my accounts, and I want you to work out graphs for this and that, and it'll do it. And they're at the stage where they can actually start creating that. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but now the interface with the PC, which is what I like talking. Not everybody likes talking, but I love talking. So Pi, for example, doesn't have a voice prompt. So I use Microsoft's voice system, which goes to the top of my screen, and then I just touch a button, and then I speak into Pi, and then Pi speaks back to me. Now, they will fix that. They'll put a little thing there where you press button and it'll listen to you and then respond. But at the moment, they don't want to spend money, I imagine, on that technology. But, speaking to the computer has sped up everything, everything. And I'm not good with spelling. I'm terrible with spelling. So, I've got this huge vocabulary and all these words and all the rest, but I can't spell them. So I'm sitting there trying to write a book, which I started doing about my life story. And I was just too frustrated. And then, of course, I just got voice recognition, and then everything just started flowing. I could use the big words without having to worry about it, without having to look up the spelling or anything. So, it's just a breath of fresh air. So the way you communicate with your computer, it's going to go to another level and another level, another level, until Elon Musk's level, where literally you're going to think it's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. I'm amazed just on the topic of voice and voice recognition, how far we've come in the last 10 years. Because 10
You know,
years
you
ago,
had to.
it was
You remember
terrible.
Dragon Dictate and how
I
you had to
do.
train it for 5 hours
Oh,
with
yeah, it was
long
terrible.
books.
You had to be a real geek to try it, and even then you gave up half the time. I mean, it was a nightmare.
People don't appreciate that Microsoft's one that comes with Windows 11 doesn't need any training at all. It doesn't matter who speaks to it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Needs zero training, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea of
Doesn't need
training
any training.
your voice interface is almost gone now. I think I don't think is there anything that you have to train in the voice anymore? I don't think there is.
No, I don't think there is.
No.
Voice has come, to a degree which a lot of people, yeah. I mean, I'm so impressed that I was born before computers, and I was fascinated with them from day one, and I've watched them grow, and to where we are today, it's just unbelievable. And unless you've got the restrictions that I understand have come all and going all the way through, you don't really appreciate it to the degree somebody like Walt and I, who have lived through that and being interested in it, intimately interested in it.
No, I do have a question for you, though. I have a question.
Yeah.
This is something that Joel and I discussed on a program a few weeks ago. And I'm curious to know what your take is. I believe personally that one of the biggest holes in the internet is in the realm that is generally called social media. And the hole that I perceive in that arena is the word social. Because there's actually nothing social about social media. There's
No, completely disagree with you.
There is no socializing that happens within social media as it's.
You're talking about physical social as opposed to.
I am.
Oh, yes, but you didn't use the word physical.
I don't need to. For
You
me,
do.
the words for me, the word social is a physical activity.
No, it doesn't have to be.
No.
Because I tell you what,
let me
I'm
ask
a
you this,
game.
Louis. Let me ask you this: Are we doing socializing right now?
Absolutely.
Is it physical?
No.
Then, in that case, my answer to your earlier question is: I'm not talking about physical socializing. I'm talking about actual socializing, communicating back and forth, talking to each other, having conversations.
So I play, as you know, first-person shooters. And I go into Discord and I chat to the guys I'm playing with. And I know what their mother do. I know he goes to his aunt every Friday and his mother cooks for him on Wednesday. And I know that he's just got a girlfriend. So I can tell you about all these characters. We have long conversations. We have philosophical conversations. We talk about the law of attraction. And these are gamers.
I get it.
These are gamers. And it's
and
social. To me, that's social.
What percent of social media is that?
Well, you can make it so. I've got a.
See, that's my point. My point is most social media is not like that. So and that's the whole.
So I'm looking at YouTube. I've learned so much from YouTube in such a short period of time. I've learned all about American politics. I've learned a lot more about debating.
On us, Louis.
Eh? Sorry? Hello?
Emery?
Emery?
Hello? Okay.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening. Did we lose her connection, maybe? Oh. I'm freezing up here.
I can see her blinking.
Well, can you hear me?
Ah, yeah, now we can hear you. No, we don't. She's freezing.
Oh, dear. Send her a private message.
She's muted now.
Well, this is another example of not having real social media. We can't socialize with her.
Most of the time it works.
Hopefully she'll see that. Well, anyway, what were you saying? Sorry, before we got diverted by the fact that Anne-Marie's connection isn't working so good.
We were talking about different ways of socializing, I think. So I was saying how much I've learned from Facebook. And it really has educated me massively with a combination of Pi and Facebook. And Pi recommending Facebook, not Facebook, YouTube. YouTube, I think, is exceptional. As long as they don't restrict too much content. There's a huge amount of incredible information on there, specifically about AI. I've learned huge amount about AI, huge amount about politics, huge amount about music, which I'm looking into at the moment. I'm into what's the word?
I don't know.
What's the really ancient language that is very musical?
Ancient language that's musical?
Not Tantra. Never mind. It'll come to me. But okay. It's one of the old Vedic languages, or the oldest Vedic language. Sanskrit.
Sanskrit, yes. Okay, yeah. Yes, I know what you mean.
So I'm looking a lot into Sanskrit music at the moment, and it's just so interesting. And there's so much out there. And there's one lady who's brilliant. She went to Oxford and studied Sanskrit and goes around the world singing and talking about Sanskrit, and she's just so interesting. Quite beautiful. And there's just so many things that I've learned in such a short period of time. And integrating them, and still going back to my whole core philosophy, the law of attraction. What do you focus on? Specifically, politics showed me how badly people are not focused on what they want.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it.
It's just unbelievable. You can't watch news without getting negative, because they're only focused on they're mostly focused on what they don't want. And so
I think we're actually getting to the point where you can say only. I think we're long past balance. Balance is gone from newscasts. There used to be 30 years ago, 40 years ago, there was balance. It's not there anymore.
The other thing that's really surprised me is how what they call legacy media now, the CNN, Fox, and all the rest of it, are so dying.
I love it.
No, I love the word. It's just they really are dying. Have you looked at the figures? They're closing buildings all over the place in different cities.
Okay.
Yeah. And the figures, if you just look at the stats, they just really dying. And I'm just shocked at the speed through me. And I've only been watching 4 months, maybe 4 months. Yeah. And it's just blown me away. It's just, wow, man, they're just dying and dying and dying. And yet the news is still out there, and everybody's getting it. So they're getting it from all over, from different people in different places, and everybody's choosing where they want to get it from, and they're filtering it, and it's really, really interesting.
Oh yeah, it's shifting. I think Anne-Marie's back. Are you back?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, that's good. I'm back. Sorry.
Hooray! That's
Where'd
good.
you go? Which trip did you have?
It was just my ears. I think your AI must have switched them off.
It's very powerful. It's protecting me from you.
It's like, shut Anne-Marie up.
See, Henry, what that means in Louis speak is that you have to get your own AI so you can have your AI stopping his AI from doing that thing, right?
That's right.
I can't wait till it can discipline my kids and bring them up and babysit. It'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of having an AI humanoid robot in the house, to me, is, imagine somebody making my bed, my breakfast, driving my car, taking my kids to school. Oh my God.
People in my house already
play
have that.
Groups. Huh?
The people in my house already have that.
They have AI. You're calling yourself a robot.
It's not AI, it's AM.
Yeah, I think you got the spelling wrong. So yeah, it's been a fascinating journey, because since I stopped being on the podcast, it's very much an accumulation of information. I just absolutely delved into hours and hours and hours of just filling myself with all the democratic stuff, understanding a little bit what a republic is and how it differs from everything else, and understanding the politics in England and common law works and all the rest of it, understanding what the difference is between the House of Lords and House of Commons, and what a shadow chancellor is, and all the rest of it, and shadow this, shadow the other. So it's just been a huge learning curve on all different subjects, on AI, on large language models, on growing my microgreens, building the microgreen business, talking to Rotary, and all the other things that I do in my life. Looking after the kids. We just had a nice party with the whole family here, with beautiful food, and just incredible. It's just, there's so much going on, and I can now have richer conversations than I could before, simply because I've exposed myself to politics, which I found really surprising. I can really relate to a lot of different people in different ways now, which I usually completely avoided because they didn't understand my spiritual world. So I would have just blocked them off.
Sure.
And just said, it's just like, stop talking rubbish. Now I can interact with them and talk to them.
Talking rubbish, I love it.
Because a lot of it is rubbish, to be honest. And there's very little understanding of bias, because everybody sits in an echo chamber. And I didn't know what an echo chamber was until this whole political thing.
This is true. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's right. That is the best example of an echo chamber.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right.
Echo chamber is exactly about the law of attraction. It's perfectly describes the law of attraction.
Yeah.
And so I've been fitting all these different pieces together, and now I can talk to a lot more people in a lot more different ways, on a lot more different subjects. So it's really, really fascinating. And I've been enjoying the journey. But
I can tell. That's one. If there's one thing that's coming through more loud and clear than anything else, it's how enthusiastic you are about all these things you've been talking about here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I haven't lost any of the whole spiritual thing, and the spiritual things kept me grounded through going through all this, because, as you know, going through politics can really be swings and roundabouts and thrown from pillar to post.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know what the best way to put a little reminder in is, but don't consume more than you can handle, I guess is probably the best way I would say it.
But what it blew me away is how much I could handle. I could handle anything. I could handle it. This is what shocked me. I'd go to talk to somebody about politics, and I'd talk about what I spoke to some South Africans at the White House the other night, and they were strong Biden supporters. And I said to them, I've been on there, and I've studied everything about Biden and the Democrats, and I've studied everything about Trump, and I've studied about the middle as well. And what do you think about this? And immediately they think I'm a Trump supporter.
Yeah,
so
of course.
What do you think about this? Oh, you're Democrat. Oh, what do you think about this? So I don't care about any of these things. I just got a very big, open viewpoint of all the different things,
It's
I
actually
think
one of the
Biden's corrupt, and I think Trump's corrupt, and where's
one of the fun things to do in politics is engage in somebody who is strongly politically oriented in a particular direction, and then play the other side.
Yeah,
and just watch.
Absolutely, absolutely. The Liberals losing it. They've got this TV show in Australia. Lefties losing it.
Oh, okay.
And man, I get some good kicks out of that. But I haven't found a good one where it says righties losing it. You just don't see it. so the lefties don't seem to slam the righties as much as the righties seem to slam the lefties.
They do it differently. That's the thing that I've noticed. The right wing slapping the left wing is much more polar. There's a lot more polarity in what they do. The left wing, they're a little bit more restricted and more politically correct about the way they do it. The idea of political correctness is a left-wing concept anyway, so that tends to be how they play their game. But it's just fascinating to watch how I guess the best way to describe it is the left-wing viewpoint is, yeah, you want to slam the right, but you do it in such a way that the right doesn't even realize that they're doing it.
Sly bunch. I don't like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely have noticed the different characteristics between the left and the right, the Democrat and the Republican.
Oh yeah.
And I can see it to a deep degree now. And I can also see how the contrast is helping.
Yes.
When
Oh
you know what
yes.
you don't want, you have a better idea what you do want.
Isn't it
And
fascinating though how long it takes people to get to
exactly,
that stage too, right?
exactly. Politics points that out beautifully.
They stay right on step number one.
And then you get these guys that can see the philosophical overview, some professors and all the rest of it, but they still have a leaning.
Oh yeah.
They can see both sides, and they can see how both of them are corrupt, but they still have a leaning.
Oh yeah.
And it's really, really amusing. But what else has been happening in my life before I go? Because
Well, you haven't mentioned soil yet, and I'm practically
no,
falling out of my chair. Like, what did that guy disappear?
is that all you remember, Walt? Oh my God.
No, it's not all I remember, but it's what you were
No,
talking about the last time you
I was
were
just
around.
thinking of my dad. My dad was one day he was into windsurfing, the next day he's into pottery, the next day he's into beekeeping, the next day he was into woodwork, next day. So yeah, I'm very much like my dad. I changed and I changed and I
Oh,
changed.
okay. Hey.
So soil is not as I'm going to give a talk to U3A in a couple of months' time on soil again. I've got a couple of other ones online. But you know, the soil group is still strong. I still go and visit them and join them now and again in London and all the rest of it. And the group has progressed, and you know, all the documents are in the agricultural minister's hands all around the world, and they're slowly implementing a lot of the suggestions that are put in all these documents that are written for all the different countries. And so watching it from that whole political structural farming point of view coming to fruition is really exciting, because there's a lot of steps forward in a lot of different countries in a lot of different ways. But you know, it's something that I'll just keep working on in the background, because I do definitely still have a passion about the soil, and because I'm growing microgreens, I'm experimenting with different soil combinations. But it takes a long time, and it takes a very strict study of it. So in other words, you've got to take, you know, this date, this time, this soil, this happened, you know, and you need to do it over a fairly long period of time to be able to get some accurate, and you need to do it consistently with a consistent amount. So you know, I've got scales and everything, and I'm weighing how much of biochar I put into it or don't put into it, you know, etc., etc. And into which soil I'm doing it, and then I'm mixing it with blooming amazing, which is a byproduct of a food like grain, and then I'm seeing how much of that I put into it. So, but to be honest, the microgreens are so resilient that they grow pretty well no matter what I do. This thing, you know, with my hydrogen water and my classical music that it gets played to in my dedicated shed. But you know, I built up a nice customer base. I'm getting referrals. You know, the money's coming in quite nicely. I'm just building this website. I'm starting the whole social aspect to my business now. And then
just to clarify, what exactly is the business model?
The business model is growing and selling microgreens to make it in its simplest possible form, and local. And that's it.
Okay.
But then adding to that, I'm using any microgreens that might get left over, or you know, getting a bit old or something. I cut them quickly, and then I dry them, and then I make microgreen herb salt, which is actually, if you look it up, it's very expensive stuff. Microgreen powder is quite expensive. So I'm selling my salts for a nice bit of money, and they're becoming quite popular. They really are. So I'm adding salt to it, and then, you know, I'm wanting to grow peppers, and I've got mushrooms that are growing, just oysters, the very simple ones at the moment. And then I want to get chilies and peppers, because you know, I've got a hothouse that I can grow stuff all year round. I've got the proper lights that are that are full spectrum lights, which is basically mimic the sun. So I don't, you know, I've got a complete controlled environment where I can just grow things. And my wife's growing tons of things in my shed. and all the rest of it. So, all that side is there as well. The AI side is there. The White House side is there. The Rotary side is there, and the Rotary website side is there, and my building a website and the social media side. And so, I've just been as busy as anything.
Sounds it.
And been enjoying it, just having a lot of fun.
Very cool. Wow. Something else I wanted to ask you too before we lost you for the day. Oh yeah, all this that you've been doing. You mentioned how you've been doing this deep dive into the political culture of the world and of the U.S. in particular. Which, by the way, once again, I reinforce: do not make that a regular habit, people. It's not a good idea. It's not good for you. But if you are going to do it, the fact that you did that deep dive is interesting. I'm curious. You used to occasionally go to a place, what's it called, Philosopher's Corner, a place in London where you
Speaker's Corner. Yes,
Speaker's Corner, that's what it was.
Yes.
Have you, since you've been doing
No,
this, have you gone there? I'd be curious to know what the reactions are.
The reason why I would not go back there is because Speaker's Corner is 99.9% Christian versus Muslim, and it's a boring topic.
Oh, okay.
It's just too boring. You could go there and force issue on some other topic, but that is the reason people go there. Is for the Muslims to bash the uneducated Christian, because they know the Christian Bible and the Quran better than you'll ever dream of knowing any book. The Muslims just run rings around the Christians endlessly. Unless somebody's really, really skilled, like the one lady who got taken away by the police because the Muslims were literally about to kill her.
Wow.
She takes a Quran and starts putting holes through it, because that's what she says. It's so full of holes, and it's true. If you start studying the Quran, it's so full of holes. You see, the difference between Christianity and Islam. Christianity has had to defend itself over 2,000 years.
This is true.
And it's had to, if you criticize a Christian, they just, you criticize a Muslim and it's the end of the world. Okay. Because they haven't spent the years learning how to defend their own works yet. And their own works, if you do study it, is really full of holes. I'm not going to go into it. You can do your own study in that. But it
I've done that, but thank you anyway.
But the Muslims will say that it's absolutely gospel. What he said came out of his mouth. It's in this book, and it's exactly as I'm saying it. And it's not like that. It's not. And they can prove it. But they will argue that until they're dead. They will argue that. So unless somebody really understands it, like this lady who got carted off to the police station to protect her, but she goes there often, and she's well known, and they've tried to kill her many times. And, it's an old story. she's a I think she was Muslim, and then she changed to Christianity. So
okay. I'm trying to figure out what her motivation is. That's really an unusual one. But okay.
There's nothing worse than a reformed smoker. That kind of philosophy, they're really passionate about what they believe.
Well, actually, it's kind of the basis for this podcast, because especially over the last few years, we've gone heavily into bringing guests on the program, and guests almost universally are people who have been through some sort of a major trauma, some sort of a significant life experience, dark night of the soul, all that kind of thing. They come out the other side. They have tools to help them come out the other side. It worked brilliantly, and they want to share it with the world. That's basically what that reformed smoker is. Reformed smoker is the one who came up with the tools. And, oh my God, I know what the answer is.
Now you know why she needs protection.
Yeah, that's right.
Because she's very zealous about her of what she now believes. So
Well, I have to say, it's been fun. It's been amazing. Anne-Marie, you made the comment to me that you were looking forward to it because you like watching Louis and me go at it and have fun like this. I think actually Louis got like 88% of the screen time, so I'm not sure if you got enough of that. But did you get enough of a fix anyway?
I did, absolutely. It's just like nostalgic. I love it. It's like the good old days.
That's good. It's lovely to see you again, Emery. We must catch up sometime.
Yeah, you too, Louis.
And we're so glad you came back to visit us too. I mean, try not to make it another 2 years before you come back, but come back and give us the latest update. If nothing else, tell us what's going on with the latest AI, because I'm sure you'll have some.
Just tell me when you've got a free Monday, and I'll see if these students are on a Monday, and I'll pop on.
Sounds great. Sounds great. All right.
So, all right. I have to go pick up my wife quickly, so I will love and leave you.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Anne-Marie. I'll see you.
And all the listeners, take care. Lovely to catch up with you guys, and we'll. We don't see you through the week, we'll see you through Windows or AI or whatever it is.
Maybe I should have him do the ending. He does it actually better in some ways.
He did it really well, didn't he?
It was very good. Yeah. Maybe I'll ask my AI to grab that and I'll plug it in. No, we'll talk about that later. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.